right, the next team we have for our team previews are the Orlando Magic. They finished with a 47 and 35 record last season. They were the number 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. They ended up losing to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. That series actually went to 7 games. Their one key addition that a lot of people were talking about when they got him this offseason is Kentavious Caldwell Pope. He is a big addition for them this season. Their key departures, though, they ended up losing Markel Fultz and Joe Ingles. So, Trevon, what are your thoughts on the Orlando Magic going into this upcoming season?
Yeah, I think that the Magic are a young and upcoming team. I think that they have a bright future. I think they have probably two-way wings potentially that they have homegrown and drafted. So anytime you have that, I think you're set up for a great future, especially when they're young and they show spurts of talent already so early. I actually think the Magic are in a very unique spot because not only are they young, but I don't think they really have to rush much, with just trying to create NBA championship caliber roster. I think they have time to kind of weed things out. They have time to kind of see what they necessarily need to build around their two stars before going all the way in. I think that they've tried different styles. I think last season they pretty much went with the route of having a lot of big two-way or defenders that can, guard multiple positions, be physical outsides a lot of other teams. We typically see big teams like that in the Western Conference, and they kind of brought that to the East. And I think now they're kind of trying a little bit more of like a better fit roster. Bringing in a guy like KCP is a great, when you talk about two ways, he's one of the guys you should think about. Just his ability to knock down shots, be in the correct spots. He doesn't need a lot of shots, so he's not like a volume type guy, but he also can knock them down once he gets those opportunities. And then defensively, he's able to match up with a lot of different people. We see him guard people like, Ant all the way to LeBron and switch on to guys like those, even some in the post area. So I think he's kind of like a perimeter Swiss Army knife who can do a lot of different things and provide that spacing, a lot of veteranship for this roster. But at the same time, I don't think he's like a big super splash signing where it's like an all-in move. I think it's just something that can help continue to further develop this young Magic squad. And I think that's typically what you want to do with the organization that's in their situation. Like I said, you have plenty of time. Just continue to let Paolo and Franz pretty much figure out what they're good at the NBA level, what they need to improve on, how much can they improve on it. And as long as you do that, I think you'll be in a better position to kind of figure out like, okay, it's been this amount of time. We've seen these guys for 5 years each. We know they're good at this, they're not good at this. So let's plug in the holes where we need to. And I think they're in that process right now. I mean, what better experience can you have as a young team than to go into a game 7 of an NBA playoffs against not necessarily championship caliber team, but a team that can go they make a deep run in that Cleveland Cavaliers squad that we saw last year. That's a very formidable opponent that they went up against, and they had a chance to win that series and move on to the next round. If they continue to get those building blocks with this young team, I think they're eventually going to really be a team that we seriously look at. Not every young team can be what the Oklahoma City Thunder became, or just become like a true number one seed and just have people plug in and ready to play in year 1 and 2. I think a lot of that is due to Shea being like 25 or 26 years old. He was in like legit MVP conversations. I wouldn't say Paolo was in that consideration quite yet, but I think in a few years he'll get to that. And then you'll start to see this team really become that. Everybody can't be the Thunder and draft a Chet Holmgren who can just come in as a rookie with other young talented guys that are playing like veterans and be the number one seed. So if they just stick to their process and the timeline that's right for them, players don't hit their prime till they're about 27, 28, around that age range. These are young guys. And I think that as long as they continue to develop their two stars, keep bringing in some veteran pieces, I think this will be big. But as far as expectations for this season, I see them being back in that mix where they can be top six again.
Yeah, this team is a really interesting young and upcoming team, like you just said. KCP coming over is going to be a really good addition to this team. You just talked about how he fits on the defensive side of things. He is one of the best two-way players. He is a really good point of attack defender. And I think him and Jalen Suggs in the backcourt defensively is going to be something that's going to give a lot of teams fits. And I think they pair very well together because Jalen Suggs is a young player that is up and coming. We already talked about their perimeter defensive skills. So you have Jalen Suggs and KCP, and you can just alternate them on the ball and also playing off the ball. This Orlando Magic team, their strength was their defense last season. We talked about two of their best perimeter players, and they also have even more top tier guard defenders. If you look at how many guards that can defend at a really good level on their team, you have KCP, Jalen Suggs, as we mentioned, but also Gary Harris is a really good perimeter defensive guard. Cole Anthony is also a pesky guard on the perimeter as well and athletic. And then you look on the back end, they are really tall, athletic. They grab defensive rebounds. They're one of the top teams in terms of defensive rebound percentage. And they are just a really good defensive team. They were third in defensive rating last year. So that just goes to show you how good this defense is. And I think the Orlando Magic are going to continue to be elite on the defensive side of things. The only thing is their offense was just really it was really bad, honestly, especially at different points. They were the 22nd team in offensive rating. They were 30th in 3-point volume. They also were 24th in 3-point percentage. They were 28th in assists and also 27th in fast break points. That 27th in fast break points, that's really weird, especially when you're as good on the defensive side of things as they are. You have to take advantage of that if your offense isn't as good, right? You have to take advantage of times when you get turnovers and get in transition. You have to score in order to help yourself when you're not that good on the offensive side of things. They struggled heavily in the half court. It was honestly really tough to watch at points because they would just walk the ball up the court and it was really stagnant. A lot of players just standing around waiting on Franz or Paolo to just kind of go one on one. Paolo fell into a lot of fadeaway jump shots, and he's not really efficient in knocking those down. And Franz struggled with his jump shot. So those guys specifically, they're going to have to improve their jump shooting. Paolo off the dribble jump shooting, he actually did very well in terms of catch and shoot in the playoffs. But Franz has to get better at catch and shoot jump shots because his shot is not the best right now. He's struggling shooting the basketball. So they're going to have to do a lot better job on the offensive end.